and the God of our fathers forever and ever. We give thanks to you, Lord our God, and the God of our fathers forever and ever. It's you, the rock of our lives.
Hey, Andrea Lee, Sandra, Terry, DJ, our puppies above, Carrie G, come on. Good morning. Rocket, Tom Jones. I know, afternoon, seriously. Kate Schaefer. This is a prayer of thanksgiving called Modim from the Jewish prayer service. Check it out.
For our lives and our souls which are given into your hand. For your miracles every day, for your
Acts of devotion in every generation. We give thanks to you, O Lord our God.
We give thanks to you for
our lives and our souls which are given unto your hand. Happy Labor Day. Good one, your compassions never fail.
The acts of your devotion
never end.
Good one, your compassions
never fail.
The acts of your devotion
never end.
Never
Check out this solo section with Eugene Friesen on the cello. Come on, just a little Snoopy bipping around. Come on. Oh, well, cello. Hey, David. I was chatting it up with Lisa Perna. Wow, today. Enjoy this worship solo. Come on. This is ancient Jewish Thanksgiving prayer. Check it out.
Good one, your compassions never fail. The acts of your devotion never end. Good one, your compassions never fail. The acts of your devotion never end. We have hoped for you from long ago.
You're our hope. You're our hope. You're our hope. You're our hope.
You're our hope. You're our hope. You're our hope. You're our hope.
Okay, so you say you don't like jazz music. You say you do not like jazz music. That, my friends, is music played by jazz musicians that know a certain way to think and a certain way to add dimension. And this is what I'm trying to tell you, that just like a prophet can speak into a situation, and the best of prophets are tell me something I don't already know. Give me information, ideas, strategies, thoughts that I don't already have. That's the best of the prophetic. So the best, in my view, of prophetic art is give me sounds I don't already understand. Give me language that stretches me. Give me forms to express, to worship, to exalt, to elevate that are beyond what I am used to. Can we dare to imagine that we're this awesome prophetic tribe bringing all this kingdom, and yet we are stuck in the same vernacular types of music and art that literally are decades and decades old now? We are the beneficiaries of a beautiful prophetic movement through popular music that was very refreshing at one point. But I want to challenge you that perhaps the most prophetic expressions in the future of worship are not visions of angels. They are sounds with which you are unfamiliar. and not just the rearranging of sounds and love songs and brokenness songs, but songs that take us someplace into a rather strange and unfamiliar culture that might be what the courts of heaven look like as we engage, in this instance, in relationship to my albums, with the prayers of the ancient Jewish people. If you don't know me, I was inspired by the Jewish prayer book, which is called the Siddur, which literally means the order. It's the same root word for which we get the word Seder, which means the order of the meal of Passover, Pesach, right? And in their prayer book, I was so gobsmacked by the language, and it's literally a weaving together of texts from the scriptures into poetic language and theme, and then the amount of exalted language and the intimacy that I found in that language made me think differently about music. And everything that I had been trained in, from the classical music of the guitar from Villa-Lobos, Heitor Villa-Lobos, the Brazilian master, and much of the Spanish composers who wrote for guitar and lute and so forth, along with the masters that we're used to, and then along with jazz musicians, caused me to think differently about how I was going to set these lyrics. So as you consider, quote unquote, cutting edge worship, cutting edge music, I want you to think that just like prophecy is supposed to tell you something you don't know and make you think in ways you haven't already, that cutting edge music and art is to give you sounds that you don't know what to do with at first. My favorite music, and then I'm going to get to a good story for you. My favorite music is music I don't love at the beginning. It's too easy to love. Wow. I mean, there are a few really snappy things that are really hooky or a beautiful thing. But as far as an album or a movement or something, my favorite music and the music that touches me the most deeply, and this is what I hear from people who get my music, is the first time I heard it, wow, I didn't know what to do with it. And I but it was just other. But then I listened again and something changed. And then I listened again and again and again. And now I am in a new space with sound and music. Prophetic art needs to give us sounds, forms, languages, and shapes that we don't already know. And to say that, sorry, this is my bee in the bonnet right now, to say that the most cutting edge new worship is merely a recycling of the sounds we've already had with the kinds of voices we've already had and the kinds of ideas that we've already had, done again by somebody new with more instruments but the same genre, is not even scratching the surface. How about that? Might be important, might be useful. Do you know, and this is what, when you're dealing with fear-free living, there's an importance to have some place you can operate from that gives you enough security where you are in order to take the leaps into where you aren't. I believe God is gracious that when we're moving out of old paradigms, old biases, old entrenched thinking, and He will give us, for example, people that we go, I think I can relate to him or her. There's something about their style, their story, their content that makes me feel like I'm not a failure where I am. That I have value and that there's a validity to my experience. And the people we learn from are people who are affirming, hey Andrea, affirming that something about our journey has been God-breathed and has roots and has things we can keep, that there are things we'll get to keep about who we are and where we've been. But those are going to be the same people that are just moving us just outside of that reach. Oh my gosh, just outside. And they're going to stretch us and say, if she can do it, I can do it. If he can do it, I can do it. To say, to say, I was an atheist and now I was a this and now I'm a this. Here's where I'm at. And this is where the being super real and approachable and authentic makes such a difference, because we give permission for people to come into the circle. And the kingdom of God, I don't think, is a spiral. I am crazy about spirals. They're in all my artwork, in everything that I do. Can you see that? And I was wondering about that one day, and then I realized, because a spiral is something that draws you in or sends you out, whips you out. And my old view of the kingdom of God was a series of circles, concentric circles. Hit the target, hit the target, hit the target, hit the target, hit the target. You want to be here in the center. If you don't, you lose, buckwheat. And that again is a fear-filled, performance-oriented paradigm. But the spiral, there we go. The spiral, and you'll see them all over my art, generally speaking, is something that draws you in from the outer to the inner, or propels you out into your realm of influence. And so it's important. You need to know that wherever you're at, this is for free. This is what I'm going to tell you today, but this is for free. Added bonus material. That wherever you are, God has this way of bringing people who've been where you've been, who know what you know, who walk the way you walked, and they're affirming to you that you're terrified, fear-filled, neurotic, broken, PTSD, traumatized, whatever, state. First of all, it's not terminal. And second of all, there's value, you're not alone. And then these same people are going to stretch you outward. Think of that in all that you do. Think of the ways that God is bringing, and look for people that God is bringing who have walked in your moccasins, or I get it, I get what you're saying. But think of the people who also are not content to be there, and they're stretching you forward. I hope to be one of those people for you, and I hope to be one of those people for you in the area of art and music, because we need to think differently and we need to hear differently. Our bodies are literally crying out for new sounds and frequencies. I feel it, and it's got to come. It's got to happen. That's my little mini rant. I want to tell you something about fear-free living being who you are. But first, I have a story for you. The most amazing thing happened to me. You guys were walking together with me last week when I just told you the story about how I was considering the good news about the survivability rate of our current thing going around, and how few people have really succumbed to it, as in the morbidity of this thing, this plaguey thing. And I thought, well, rather than just me talking to my little group, because I'm feeling very much the silo experience at Facebook and so forth, I went to the 4 open forums in my town and posted, good news! Guess what? How few people died of this exact thing. There's reasons why other people died, and look at how 98% plus survivability. Yay! Can we all be happy? You'd have thought. I told people that you'd have thought I shot their dog. You would have thought I shot their dogs. And that's when I started to talk to you about is fear of mental illness and confirmation bias. Some really interesting, powerful things I taught you last week about confirmation bias and why a good confirmation bias is a good bias to have. Right? And so, but what happened out of that was that I had the most remarkable, amazing one-on-one with somebody in one of those forums who's probably who moderates, and reached out to me. And we met yesterday out in the courtyard here at the farm and had the most delightful, amazing, incredible experience. The day before, I had another divine appointment with someone in my town that I never would have met if it hadn't been for this kind of malarkey going on that we've seen. And this woman brought her daughter who had a leg length difference, and my daughter prayed for her daughter. And in just minutes, the girl was standing absolutely straight, completely balanced. Bam! Now we're going to follow up and make sure she's good. But her whole face and body was like, because I saw her standing before, and she had to lean on one leg and kind of do one of these to stand straight. And when my daughter was done praying for her, she was completely stable in both legs with no leaning either side. And her face, and the mother's crying, and we're like, this is Jesus, this is the real thing. And we said, we want you at our table. We're reinventing church. Come to our table, share your lives with us. Let's do this thing. That's what God is doing right now among us. It's all about people who've gone through this fire. And the essence of who you are is being exposed. You can't hide it. So if you've had a longing and a cry for freedom and healing and confidence and security, and you're pressing into that even though it seems so far away, that's who you are. That's what you're going after, and that's what's being revealed. God is revealing the who you are at this hour, what you've invested in, what you're no longer willing to invest in, what you're 110% committed to. He is bringing that to the surface for all to see. For some of people, like these people I just was with, they're in a new wake up. They're in a new paradigm. One lady's like, I'm 6 months awake. I had no idea. And yet, who she is, the longing for authenticity, the longing for freedom, the awakening is so defining that even though she has a long way to go in her walk and her stabilizing, in her truth-filled confirmation biases, she is being revealed as a seeker, as a longer, as someone who's pressing in. Who you are is being revealed. And fear-free living is a who you are, not a what you do or what you feel. I will circle back to that. But let me tell you what else happened as a result of this interaction in social media. So this woman comes over and we talk and we share, and we're just being ourselves, and I'm talking to her about life and community and how people react and what her thing is, and she works, she's in the school, and I just adored her. I thought she was fabulous, and on the way out the door, she thought this was an animal farm. So she wanted to know if she could come over and pet goats and stuff. And I said, well, you can pet art and jazz music if you want. And on the way out the door, I handed her Mrs. Amazing and The Seed. I don't know why. It wasn't like she was asking for it. But, I got to tell you, when you want to get a good price on printing your books, you get a lot of them. And they're sitting around. And then you have, like, stocking stuffers for the next 25 years. I've sold quite a few, but you know how it is. Anyways, so I gave her a copy of Mrs. Amazing and The Seed, my original book, which is now, I've got a whole spin-off series, a series of prequels that's coming out for 3rd through 5th grade, going directly into the schools, my friend. Anyways, so I tell her the story and I say, hey, you can just have this and whatever, okay? And she takes it home yesterday afternoon and says, she's got a busy evening and blah, blah, blah. So I get a text from her, and she says to me, I just finished your whole book. I've just sat down and finished your whole book. I love it. It's really, I don't know if I should just read to you what she sent. She said, here we go. It was really great on so many levels. I love it. After I read the epilogue, I just had to share this part of my day with you because it was, I don't know, uncanny. As Constance would say, Constance is the girl who is losing everything that her family believed in, this supernatural realm of wonder. And she ends the book working at a place called the Social Repair Center, trying to find her place when she's been told that nothing her parents believe in is true. So here's this friend says, as Constance would say, I had a long month at the Social Repair Center trying to fix things for other people, with many fails, I might add, which I also feel had a pretty big part of my random shutting down of your post out of frustration and exhaustion, because the comments, it wasn't my post, but the comments were horrid. She said, anyway, here's the crazy part. Today I found a flower in the backyard. Now you need to know this. At the end of the book, Faye Falsam realizes all she can do is trust that the seed from wonder she planted in her daughter is enough, because she can't control. And in the end of the book, that supernatural seed sprouts in her daughter's physical garden one day. And it's a seed from wonder, and the flower is like unlike anything the daughter's seen. And Constance, this very conflicted daughter in a lot of pain, sees this flower and throws her face into it, and she gets revelation memories of this supernatural realm called wonder. Well, guess what happened to my friend yesterday? She said, "Today I found a flower in the backyard. I mean, we noticed random leaves growing last week, but my family and I had no idea where the plant came from or what it was." Remember, she just finished reading this like right before. And she said, or right around the same time, "Today the mystery plant had a flower, but not like a normal flower. It's the most perfect flower that has ever grown in my yard. Everyone in my family just stood around it and stared at it today because it is amazing how something so perfect could grow, because she had no flowers anywhere like it. We sniffed and stared at it. It's literally the only flower in my backyard right now, and it is stunning. Stunning. I think it came from a wonder seed, so thank you for sharing." I'm going to see if I can show you the picture of the flower. That flower randomly popped up in this woman's garden the exact same day she finished my book and talked about a long-lost girl who lost wonder, and the seed, the wonder seed that grew up out of her garden, out of nowhere, with a bloom that caused her to come to life on the inside. Can you believe it? This is what God is doing right now. It's all about supernatural connections and divine appointments with other people who are walking out a zombie world, who have a determination to be free. Keep your eyes peeled. Because right now, the very cream of the crop, the tippy top of the tippy top, are rising to the surface for purposes and plans. And this fear-free living thing, trumpet flower, it's some kind of a lily. It's crazy. But the amazing thing is, this person is on a spiritual journey, and she identified with the character in the book, which is exactly what I prayed for, that this particular character, who feels so alienated from the religious systems or the spiritual systems or the things she was taught, that something awakens in that person, and they don't give up wonder. That's exactly how I wrote it. I wrote it in the perspective of the parents, the mom who's crushed that her child has lost something. And from the perspective of the child, the person who's lost something and doesn't know if they can ever believe again. Amazing. Oh my goodness. So here's the deal. Right now, this fear-free thing has more to do with who you are than what you do, what you think and how you feel. I mean, it is about what you think. But you need to know that we as humans were created, we were hardwired for pleasure. We're hardwired to love. We were not hardwired for fear. No, we were hardwired for pleasure, and we're hardwired for survival. But we need to be taught to love. I'll get it exactly right. But you go with me on this, because I've researched this whole thing. But I think it's fascinating. We're not hardwired for fear, but we are hardwired for pleasure. And we are hardwired for all these things that keep us safe, right? And present in the world and aware. And we get to choose who we are. We get to choose that if we're not hardwired for fear, we're not hardwired for pain, we're not hardwired for depression, we're not hardwired for leaving the stage and hiding in the wings of our own life. And we're not hardwired for love, but we have the capacity for it. We have all of the ability in us to respond to it through pleasure. Then we get to choose. We have this capacity. And you can decide who I am. Who I am is not that or not that. Who I am is this. And when you understand that fear-free living ultimately boils down to an identity, that Julie is someone who is love and functions out of love. Who you are functions out of love and security. That's who you are. And I may not quite be there yet. I may have a long way to go, But I'm a person who won't let go until we get to the promised land. I will not let go. Whatever it costs me, wherever I have to go, whatever I have to do, whoever I have to confront, whatever I have to work through, I will take however many baby steps, however many, but another point of authenticity, another point of yesness, yes, another point of risk, another point of receiving, another point of loving. And I may fall back millions of times. I may fall back into old patterns, to old biases, to old wiring. And there's strategies for all that. I may fall into and have triggers and stuff. But who I am is that. I'm going to the love side. I'm going to make sure I'm using all the receptors and everything that God gave me to be completely into that. I am a person. Who I am is fear-free. That's who I am, and I'm learning to step fully into that as an identity, as a way of being, as a way of thinking, until it so permeates you. You wake up one day, I promise you wake up one day and you go, I don't even think about that anymore. It's not even really an issue. Where did that go? I'll give you one example of that. Is that we had a deep wound in a church, and these people were really pretty evil. They went after us personally, and got on the phone and called everybody to slander us and tell us we were of the devil because we believed in the power of the Holy Spirit and Brownsville revival. And I mean, I'm telling you, if they could have put an A on all my jackets, they would have. And they called everybody and warned them that we would bring Satan into the church. And oh my gosh, and it was just awful. And I already had a deep shaming wound, so it was super no fun. And as I got free, the Lord was challenging me to forgive them. And so I forgave them, but I had to drive past their house every day, multiple times. And so what I did was I would speak a blessing. In the name of Jesus, I just bless you. I just bless you, so and so and so and so. I bless you and I release you. And I've chosen to forgive you. And Lord, I receive your healing. Boom. And I mean, I could viscerally feel, and I have a friend who's like this where her husband, oh my gosh, he cheated on her, and she knew the locations in our area. And she'd be driving past those locations and have to think every stinking time, that's where he met her. Oh, and he met her over there, and he met her over there. But when she began to say, this is who I am. This is who I am. I'm a lover. I'm a secure one. I'm a peaceful one. And I will not let go. I'm going. It's set. It's settled. I'm going to be free. I'm going to walk in the truth. But because that's who I am. I am not fear. I am not control. I am not depression. I am not anxiety. I am love. I am peace. I am security. And it doesn't matter what I feel like today. That's where we're going. That's the true north. And that's what it was like driving past this house over and over and over. And having the memories ring in my mind. I bless you. I bless you. I bless you. Till one day, swear on a stack of Bible. It was so quiet. And I realized I'd been driving past their house and not even thinking about them. Not even thinking about them. So many other things to think about. So many other feelings to have. Like I prayed for Dave Yule like this over the summer. I prayed with a guy who had PTSD from Afghanistan. And we sat at the dinner table after dinner, him and my daughter and me. And I said, would you like to get healed of a memory? I got 3 easy steps. And we asked the Holy Spirit which one, what it was. And he said, yeah, I know. And it wasn't the goriest one. It was the one with the most personal responsibility in it for him as a captain or a team leader, whatever. I forget his rank. And we did the steps. Here, identify the amount of pain in the memory. Jesus, here's my pain. Take it from me. I receive your healing. Wait on the Lord. Watched just moments. He could see different things. Pain lifted, and he went from 9, 10 level pain, I don't know, 8 to 10, somewhere in there, let's say 8, to 0 pain in that memory. Because he had chosen who he was. He decided who he was. He was going to be the guy who got well. He was going to be the one who didn't hurt anymore. He was going to be the one who received. He was going to be the one with the open heart, because that's who he was. And living fear-free is about who you choose to be. And if you wait to define your identity by how you feel and how far along on the process you are, you will wait a lot longer. It's important to know I've set my course. I've got my true north. I'm heading into wholeness. I'm stepping, and whatever it costs me, whatever I have to do, I will not live under the thumb of fear. I will not. And those are the kinds of key decisions you make that open heaven, open portals, open doors. And that's what happened to me last week when all I did was like try to post something good on Facebook, and the next thing you know, I was trashed and wanting to run and wanting to hide. And instead, I pressed into an opportunity to meet the person running the whole forum who had represented something intimidating to me. And this is the beautiful, lovely young woman who read my book in an afternoon or an evening and had a divine, what she called uncanny experience of wonder, a wonder seed shooting up in her garden. Where do you think that one might go? What do you think the possibilities of that thing is? What do you think is possible for you? What would you be doing now if you really believed you were a person who lived fear-free, that you don't you function on? If you really believed, I'm that person who takes it on. I feel the fear. I don't know how much I can do today. I don't know where I'm at. Maybe I'm just barely driving by the traumatizing memory and whimpering a little, I bless you. But I'm on the way. What would you do? Would you be doing right now that you're not doing if you weren't afraid? Who would you be talking to? Who would you be loving? What would you be enjoying about yourself? What would you love about your body? I mean, really love and accept about your body if you weren't afraid. How would you sleep? How would you create? What would it feel like in your skin if you believed you were a fear-free person? That that's what you were created. You have created capacity for that kind of learning. If you really believed you were so soaked in love that you couldn't fail, that nobody could reject you, that you were a winner, that there was no way to keep you down, that some days it might suck terribly, but you were so completely and utterly a person who came back every time, relentlessly heading toward love and security. That's who you are. That's who I am. That's who I am. That's who I am. You get to choose who you are. You were created for goodness, freedom, light, but you get to choose what to agree with, and your brain's ready to back you up 150% aggressively. God gave you choice, and one of the scariest things about choice is the degree to which your neural processors will work tirelessly to wire you for the outcome you've decided, which means you can wire yourself to be desperate, belittled, terrified, intimidated, rejected, fat, mean, violent, demonized. Don't the demons love those neural pathways? They're looking for opportunities. Fear-free living is who you are. Not what you feel, not how well you do. You get to decide that. What say you, my friends? And this is the hour when we're seeing who people are. So maybe you're just beginning your journey. But if you're like, yeah, I want that. Or maybe you're more like this. Yeah, I want that. Welcome to the party. Let's do this thing. So do something that scares you, like dare to choose to be who you are, to be fear-free, as a state, as an identity, as a reality, no matter where you are in the process today, okay? Okay. And so I will see you guys tomorrow. Oh, wait, I do have a Cloudhead channel I'm signing up probably this week. Channel 129. Got to get it rolling. And I'll see you tomorrow.